Welcome to episode 1, where today I'll talk about the parts of us we leave behind, plus why radiant rebellion. Before I go into the conversation, I have an opening question for you. What part of you have you left behind while trying to survive? So, a little bit about me. I remember as a little girl, I felt like I was magic. And hopefully many of you felt like that too, if you can remember. I remember seeing angels and finding lockets and having dreams where later that week, it was a reality. And I felt like my life was always so charmed. And then, like life often does with well-meaning parents, I began to lock that part of me, that magic part of me, inside because I was told that I was just like everybody else, that there was no magic, and that I had to work hard for everything that I had, and nothing would come to me easy. And so little by little, those parts of me that I truly loved about that little girl were left behind or locked deep within me. And so fast forward to when I was 15 years old. I remember it was in the 90s, and I remember our little kitchen, 2-bedroom apartment, and I remember both my parents coming in with grand faces and saying, "Kids, there's something we need to tell you." And of course my heart dropped, and I can remember looking at my little brother and wondering what it was. Well, my parents came to say, I remember my dad with this just devastated voice, "Kids, your mom has cancer. She has leukemia." My mom was only 36 years old and I was 15. So I remember thinking, leukemia, I wonder what that is. Now you remember, this is the 90s when I grew up, and cancer wasn't well known back then, especially not in LA. And so in my mind, cancer was like a cold that was something that would go away. And so I wasn't worried about it until my mom decided to get chemotherapy. And I watched her slowly get thinner and thinner. I watched her lose her hair. And at one point I realized that she may not survive this. And that really scared me. And so immediately I went into survival mode. I tried to take care of my mom the best that I could. I would go to her appointments in the hospital and hold her hand while they were pulling out bone marrow. And only a few months later, after going into remission and the cancer coming back fully, I held her hand as I watched her take her last breath. And so at 16 years old, a few months earlier, I turned 16, I went into survival mode. My dad worked nights. He was going through his own grieving process and left us kids to do what kids do. And so my brother and I had nobody but each other to depend on. And so we were both lunged into survival mode. Any dream, any hope, any vision of doing anything that I wanted was deeply hidden inside my soul, where I had to raise my brother. I had to make sure that he was okay and make sure that I was at least okay in the way that I knew as a 16-year-old girl. The years that followed were bulimia, suicidal tendencies, bad relationships, bad decisions. The person I needed most wasn't around, and still in survival mode into my 20s, I moved out of my house, and into my 30s, I met a great guy. And when I was 35 myself, I ended up having a beautiful baby girl 6 weeks early. And we were lunged into the NICU for 2 weeks, again, back into survival mode. So I don't know about you guys out there, but I know all of us have stories of survival where it's fight or flight or run. And we just go into this survival mode, and we're not able to love and to be those parts of ourselves that we want to be, because there's no room for that. There's no room for us to be creative and love and trust when there's a saber-tooth tiger coming after us. So after my 30s, things got a little better as my daughter got older. I went through a divorce. And now that I'm 52, a long way from 16, I feel I finally have the freedom to be creative. My daughter is now 17. She's going to be going to college soon, which puts me in a little bit of survival mode because I'm going to miss her so much. But now I have room to be creative, and that is why I've taken up art, something that I have loved since high school and something that my heart loves to do. So my question to you is, what parts of you did you leave behind while you were trying to survive? Can you remember those parts of you? Can you remember the creative? Maybe you love to dance, maybe you love to sing, maybe you dream of being something great. Are you at a point in your life where you can slowly start to allow those beautiful parts of you to emerge? So that is why I created Radiant Rebellion, so that we could shut out the noise, so that we could make time for the things that we love to do, whether you're a mother, whether you're a grandmother, an auntie, or even a teenage girl. Can you allow yourself to be even a little bit creative, to tap into that right brain and allow yourself maybe just 10 minutes a day of doing something that you love? And I want you to know that I'm right there with you. That is why Radiant Rebellion exists. That is why I want to make these micro sessions to inspire you to go out there and shut out the noise when everybody tells you that you can't do something, to shut out that bubble that people want to put us in, and to do what it is that you love, to speak out, to use your voice, to step into your sovereignty and your divine wisdom, and allow yourself to be loved by something greater than ourselves. That is why I created Radiant Rebellion. That is why I now make mixed media, and I made my office into half of a studio where I get to be messy, where I get to tune into something that isn't survival mode. So where did you go? And can you bring that part of yourself back? I love you, and I wanted to close with one final question. What did you love before life got so serious? Before you were thrown into survival mode? And what part of you is asking to come back now? Take a few moments to answer this question. And remember who you are. This is Nancy Benitez, and you are loved. Until next time.